Okay, so now let's proceed to the Last Supper. So Leonardo worked on the Last Supper from about 1495 to 1498. Kung mapapansin niyo po, magkaiba yung stated ko at saka yung nakalagay po sa ating PowerPoint. Bakit? Okay, the beginning date is not certain, as the archives of the convent for the period has been destroyed. So, a document dated 1497 indicates that the painting was nearly completed at that date. Kaya po, makapapansin nyo kapag nag-research po kayo about 1495 to 1497, yung iba naman ay 1495 to 1498. So dito po, paano ba siya nagsimula? Paano daw ba nag-come up si Leonardo da Vinci sa Last Supper? So yung iba dito ay mga theories, yung iba naman ay nakastate sa Bible. Okay? So, simulan po natin. Paano daw ba nag-come up si Leonardo da Vinci sa kanyang The Last Supper? So sabi, isang kwento ang nagsabi na mula daw sa monasteryo ay may isang nagrereklamo kay Leonardo da Vinci tungkol sa pag-delay ng painting niya, na ikinagalit niya, na sabi ng ng taong yon, bakit ang tagal-tagal ng painting mo? Now, si Leonardo da Vinci ay sumulat sa pinuno ng monasteryo na nagpapaliwanag na siya ay nagpupumilit na makahanap ng perpektong muka ng kontrabida para kay Judas. Kasi up until daw, nung time na yon na may sumugod, wala pang muka, wala pa siyang naisip na muka para kay Judas. At kung hindi daw siya makahanap ng mukha na naaayon sa kung ano ang nasa isip niya, gagamitin niya ang itsura ng nagrereklamo. Okay, so that's the story lang. Haka-haka. So wala tayong claim dito. So, alamin natin, sino ba yung mga apostol o sino-sino ba yung mga 12 apostol ni Jesus Christ? Paki-take note po that is a 12 apostol. Okay, simulan po natin kay number 1, kay Bartolome. Next, James Minor, or tinatawag natin James de Les, si Andrew, si Judas, si Peter, si John, and syempre, si Jesus Christ. Si Thomas, James Major, o tinatawag natin James the Great, si Philip, si Matthew, si Thaddeus, o tinatawag din natin Jude, and si Simon. So, alamin natin yung mga story, bakit nga ba nag-come up si Leonardo da Vinci sa mga ganitong itsura nila. Okay, so ano ba ulit yung Last Supper? Again po, ang Last Supper is the most religious painting in the world. Religious painting in the world. So it was created by Leonardo da Vinci between 1495 to 1498 or 1497. So the painting shows Jesus Christ having his last meal with his 12 apostles before he was arrested and crucified. So kung nakita po natin kanina, si Jesus Christ ay kasama ng kanyang 12 apostol na parang nag-uusap-usap o may pinag-uusapan. So ano nga ba yung pinag-uusapan na yon? Ano ba yung nangyayari sa painting? So the scene captures the most or the moment when Jesus says, "One of you will betray me." Kung mapapansin nyo po, may iba't ibang reaksyon yung ating mga apostol. At doon natin malalaman, ano ba yung ini-indicate o ano ba yung gustong sabihin sa atin ng mga facial expression ng kanyang mga apostol. So, after hearing those words, each apostle reacts with surprise, confusion, fear, or disbelief. Now, Leonardo painted their different emotions to make scene feel realistic and dramatic. So, alamin natin yung mga kwento ng bawat character or bawat apostol ni Jesus Christ. And yes, the Last Supper has inspired many theories for hundreds of years. And some are supported by historians while others are only speculations or fiction lamang po. Kaya nga, ipinapaalam ko po sa inyo na yung mababanggit po natin dito ay some are theories, some are speculations lamang ng iba pong mga tao. Okay? To start with, dito muna po tayo kay Bartolome. Okay? Kung mapapansin natin, Ano ba yung tsura ni Bartolome dito? So, kung papansinin natin, he is standing up slightly. Kung mapapansin po natin, nakalin siya, di ba? Which is symbolizes eagerness and surprise. Parang, he wants to understand what Jesus has just said. Parang, ano yung sinasabi ni Jesus Christ? Ano nga ba yun? Parang ganon. So, sino nga ba si Bartolome? Bartolome is a quiet, faithful apostle. Bakit siya mukhang surprised? Kung titingnan natin, he's shocked, di ba? Which is leaning forward to hear better. Parang gusto niyang maintindihan ano ba yung sinasabi ni Jesus Christ. So, kung papansin natin yung posisyon niya, siya po ay nasa edge. Nasa pinakadulo. Not very close to Jesus. Which is showing his quiet nature. Na tahimik lang talaga siya. Okay? So, yung posisyon na nandyan or nakalagay po sila is merong meaning. Bakit nga ba sila malayo? So, ito, kay Bartolome, mapapansin natin, nasa pinakadulo siya, which is defined as not very close to Jesus and showing his quiet nature. Okay, another one natin. Okay, let's proceed kay James Minor or yung tinatawag nating James the Less. So, ano naman ang kanyang facial expression? Kung mapapansin natin, he looks shocked. Okay, kung titingnan natin, yung kamay niya, his hands show confusion, which is nakaakbay siya kay Andrew, diba? Which is, parang kung titingnan natin, represent a disbelief. So, sino ba si James the Less or James Minor? So, si James the Less is considered as the younger apostle at tahimik din, kagaya ni Bartolome. Bakit siya look confused? So, sa kanya, reacting with his hands, unsure of what is happening. Ano ba yung gusto? Diba? Parang nakaakbay siya. Parang may gusto siyang abutin. At gusto niyang alamin ano ba yung sinasabi ni Jesus Christ. So, kung posisyon naman ang titingnan natin, diba? With Bartolome and Andrew, showing honest surprise. Ibig sabihin, diba? Kung mapansinin natin, mayroong mga grupo ang mga yan. Naka-grupo sila into 4. Diba? Group ni na Bartolome, James Minor, and Andrew. Another group kay Judas and Peter and John. And then another group is Thomas, James Major, and Philip. And another group is Matthew, Thaddeus, and Simon. Or Simon. So, nakagroup sila. Depende nga sa kung gaano ba daw sila ka-close kay Jesus Christ. Okay, next one. Okay, kay Andrew naman tayo. So, kung titingnan din naman natin, ang expression niya dito ay, di ba, nakataas yung dalawang kamay ni Andrew, which is symbolizes us parang innocence and surprise. Parang kung titingnan natin, kahit hindi umiimik yung painting, parang nadidinig mong, surely not me, hindi ako yon. Okay, parang ito yung way niya kung paano, parang sinasabi niya na, malinis yung kamay ko. Hindi ako yung gumawa nun. So, sino nga ba si Andrew? So, si Andrew is kapatid po ni Peter. Okay, bakit ba siya nagmumukhang defensive? Kasi nga, gawa po ng kanyang kamay. Diba? His hands are up as if saying, not me, hindi ako, at hindi ko gagawin yan. So, yung position niya, okay, para silang, kung titingnan, sila yung shock trio. Okay, kung titingnan po natin, yung picture nilang tatlo, sila yung mga shock. Kaya, sabi nga, sila yung shock trio. Okay, another one po natin ay si, ito, kay Peter muna tayo. Kung titingnan natin, di ba, nakalins forward siya toward kay Jesus. At may hawak siyang, ano po ba yon? May hawak siyang kutsilyo behind his back. So, yung knife shows that Peter will later cut off a soldier's ear when Jesus is arrested. Okay? Kaya ang ginawa po, nasa Bible po yan, na nakastate na pinutol ni Peter ang tenga ng isang soldier para ipagtanggol si Jesus Christ. Okay, so sino nga ba si Peter dito? So si Peter is considered as loyal but impulsive. And yung posisyon niya, di ba, nakalin toward siya, or leaning toward Jesus Christ, but also confronting Judas, kung titingnan natin. So, may ibig sabihin po yan. So, sinasabi na itong story ni Peter is one of the most interesting details in the Last Supper. Kasi daw, may hawak nga na kutsilyo itong si Peter. Which is yung knife, it symbolizes an event that happened later in the Bible. So, sabi sa kwento, after the Last Supper daw, Jesus and his disciples went to the Garden of Gethsemane. So, when the soldiers came to arrest Jesus, Peter tried to defend him. Gustong protektahan ni Peter si Jesus Christ. So, the Bible tells us that Peter drew a sword and cut off the right ear of Malchus, the servant of the high priest. Then, itong si Peter, having a sword, drew it and struck the high priest's servant, cutting off his right ear. So, the servant's name was Malchus. Ito po ay nakastate sa John chapter 18, verse 10. But, however, Jesus immediately stopped Peter and healed Malchus' ear. So, para kay Jesus Christ, hindi tama na nanakit ka o pinagtanggol mo ako at nakasakit ka. So, ayaw ni Jesus Christ ng violence. Na itinuturo niya that teaching the violence was not the answer. And may mga sinasabi din ng mga theorists na yung may hawak ng knife is extra hand lang daw. So some people notice what looks like an extra hand holding the knife and wonder if it belongs to no one. So this idea became popular because of the novel na the Da Vinci Code, which is suggested that the hand was mysterious. But however, yung mga art historians po natin do not agree with this theory. The hand is generally understood to belong to Peter, even though Leonardo painted it in a way that makes it appear unusual because of the overlapping figures. Okay, so yun lang naman yung gustong iparating sa atin ng pagkakahawak ni Peter sa knife. Okay, so dito pag-usapan naman natin si Judas. O si Judas kung tawagin, di ba? Judas Iscariote or Judas Iscariote. Kung titingnan po natin, siya po ay nakaupo o sits slightly in the shadows. At mayroon po siyang bitbit. At ang bitbit niya ay small bag, which is symbolizing the 30 pieces of silver he received for betraying Jesus. So dito, he reaches toward the bread at the same time as Jesus. At kung titingnan po natin yung kanyang muka, his face is darker, which is representing betrayal. So sino nga ba si Judas Iscariote? So sinasabi na siya ay traitor. So nagmukha din siyang suspicious because meron siyang dalang money bag. At yung mukha niya is shadow and he's pulling back. Parang, ano niyo, parang imbis na, di ba yung iba, papalapit sila kay Jesus Christ kasi they are curious. Sino ba yung magtatraidor sa akin? Pero siya, bakit siya palin backward? Bakit siya palayo kay Jesus Christ? Okay, so para mas mapalawak natin yung kwento ni Judas, sabi dito, may hawak siyang pouch na may lamang mga pilak. Yung pilak na yan yung ibinayad sa kanya para ipagkanulo niya si Jesus Christ. Kaya nga siya binasagang the traitor. So, si Judas offered to betray Jesus to the religious authorities. They agreed to pay him 30 pieces of silver for doing so that Jesus knew that Judas was going to do this. So, alam na ni Jesus Christ na ipagkakanulo siya ni Judas, but took no action to stop him. Hindi niya pinigilan. Now, Judas led the soldiers to the Garden of Gethsemane where Jesus was praying. So, habang nagpe-pray si Jesus Christ, ikinis ni Judas si Jesus para ma-identify. Kasi sabi daw ni Judas ay, hahalikan ko si Jesus Christ para malaman nyo na siya si Jesus Christ. And afterwards, Jesus' death. So, sinasabi po sa Matthew's Gospel, Judas regretted his action. So, sinasabi na pinagsisihan ni Judas yung naging action niya. Sinasabi din na ibinalik daw niya ang pera and inihang niya yung sarili niya. Pero may ibang version din na he didn't return the money and namatay si Judas accidentally. So, marami pa rin haka-haka and wala pa rin nagpapatunay. Another po natin, ayan. Puntahan po natin si John the Apostle. Okay, so si John the Apostle appears young and calm. Kung titingnan din po natin, his head is lowered, mas mababa, which symbolizes love, sadness, and deep sorrow. At itong si John ang isa sa mga biggest controversy about the Last Supper, which is identified na pinakamalapit kay Jesus Christ. So, sabi nga sa Da Vinci Code theory, ito yung mga fiction na kung kayo po ay nakapanood, nakapagbasa, okay, sa story nun, it is claimed that the person beside Jesus is not John. She is a Mary Magdalene. Hindi siya si John. So, the novel also suggests that the Mary Magdalene was Jesus' wife and that they had a child. Yun po yung sabi doon. Okay. So, sinasabi, bakit daw na napagkamalan na si John ay isang babae at siya ay si Lady Magdalene? So, una, wala siyang balbas. So, sinasabi na, kung mapapansin po natin, si John lang ang walang balbas. Pero, nung unang panahon kasi, yung mga walang balbas is considered as mga bata. Mga batang apostol o mga bata pa. And kung titingnan daw natin, bakit mahaba yung hair niya compare po sa iba pong mga apostol. And also, kung titingnan din natin, yung color ng damit is same sila o parang opposite sila ni Jesus Christ. Kung titingnan po natin, yung damit ni Jesus Christ is red here and blue, samantalang sa kanya, blue and red. Halos magkapalitan. Pero tandaan nyo po, this is a fictional story lamang. There is no historical or biblical evidence that support those claims. At sinasabi pa nga na kapag inilipat daw si John dito sa kabilang side ni Jesus Christ, para siyang nakalin. Okay? O parang nakapatong yung balikat ni John kay Jesus Christ. And dagdagan pa natin, si John is considered as the youngest, yung tinatawag nating the beloved disciple. At yung position niya shows that right next to Jesus, which is, ibig sabihin, close siya and isa siya sa mga pinagkakatiwalaan ni Jesus Christ. Okay, and syempre, yung nasa center po natin ay si Jesus Christ. Okay, he is calm and peaceful. He is the center of the painting. Kung papansin po natin, his arms are open, which is showing acceptance of God's plan. And the all perspective lines in the painting lead to Jesus, making him the main focus. Okay, kung titingnan po natin, yung pinaka-position niya, di ba, para siyang naka-triangle. Para siyang triangle. Okay, which is symbolizes or symbol of the Holy Trinity. That is according po sa atin po mga theories. And another one, okay, Thomas the Apostle. Kung papansinin po natin, he raises one finger upward. Ito po yun. Which symbolizes questioning or seeking truth. And, di ba, siya yung tinaguri ang doubting Thomas. Or considered as a doubtful one. Bakit? Ano ba yung story behind this? So, the story, after Jesus was crucified, several followers, including Mary Magdalene, discovered that his tomb was empty. Yung kanyang libingan ay bukas. So, the disciples told Thomas that Jesus was alive. Pero anong ginawa ni Thomas? Hindi siya naniniwala. Thomas said, "Unless I see the nail marks in his hands, and put my finger where the nails were, and put my hand into his side, I will not believe." Nakastate po yan sa John chapter 20, verse 25. Ang pagkakasabi niya, di ba, na maniniwala lang ako kapag itong daliri kong to ay naipasok ko sa pinagpakuan kay Jesus Christ. Yun po yung pagkakasabi niya doon. So a few days later, Jesus appeared to the disciples and said to Thomas, "Put your finger here. See my hands. Reach out your hand and put it into my side. Stop doubting and believe." Yan po ay nakastate sa John chapter 20, verse 27. So now, when Thomas saw Jesus, he believed and declared, "My Lord and my God." John chapter 20, verse 28. And yes, sa kanya din po nagsimula yung to see is to believe, na parang kailangan ko munang makita bago ko mapatunayan. Okay, so next one, we have James Major or James the Great. Kung mapansin nyo po, nilagyan ko po ng lines ng circle si James Minor and James Major. So again po, they are not related. Hindi po porket pareho yung pangalan nila, sila po ay magkapatid. Okay? So si James the Great or si James Major, ang kanyang posisyon, he stretches out his arm. May gusto siyang abutin, di ba? Which shows amazement and disbelief. Okay, and si James Major or James the Great is one of the closest to Jesus Christ. Kaya kung mapapansin po natin, isa siya sa mga malalapit sa pwesto ni Jesus Christ. Parang kung titingnan natin, 'di ba, naka-open arms siya. Ibig sabihin, he can't believe what he heard. Ha, totoo ba? Parang, ha, totoo ba? Totoo bang may magbibetray? So, yun lang naman yung kay James Major. Next one is Philip. Kay Philip naman, so dito, he places his hands on his chest. Nakahawak siya sa kanyang chest. Na para bang kinakausap siya ni Jesus Christ, which is symbolizes honesty and concern. Na parang, ako ba? Ako ba yun? O kaya pwede naman sabihin niya, "Surely not me, Lord. Hindi ko gagawin yan sa'yo," habang nakahawak sa kanyang chest. So, ang kanyang position is next to Jesus, shows innocence and loyalty. Another one is si Matthew, the Apostle. Okay, turns to the others. Kung titingnan po natin, eto, sila-sila lang yung nag-uusap. Okay, symbolizes discussion and searching for answer. Sino ba yung sinasabi ni Jesus Christ? Kung titingnan niyo po yung pwesto ni Matthew, parang nakaturo siya, pero nakaharap siya kina Tadeus and Simon. Which is nakikipag-usap siya and he's looking for an answer. And next one is si Tadeus o yung mas kilala po sa Jude. Okay, so siya naman, parang sila yung mga tao na curious and confused. So parang yung pinaka-pwesto niya is he's trying to figure out who is Jesus talking about. Sino ba yung tinutukoy ni Jesus Christ na magbe-betray? Okay, yung posisyon niya, nakikipagkwentuhan siya kay Matthew and kay Simon. And last one po natin, okay, kay Simon, sits at the end. Okay, nasa dulo, nasa edge din siya, which is appears calm and thoughtful. So dito, listens as the others discuss Jesus' words. Kung papansinin po natin, nakikipagkwentuhan siya kay Matthew and kay Thaddeus, pero nakaharap siya kay Jesus Christ. Okay, na parang pinagkukwentuhan nila, sino ba yung magbibitray kay Jesus Christ? Ano ba yung maaari nilang pagkwentuhan dito? Okay? So, may kanya-kanyang kaganapan yung mga apostol ni Jesus Christ. At again, nakadepende po yung posisyon nila sa kung gaano sila kalapit kay Jesus Christ. Another information po natin, ano ba yung interesting facts about Jesus Christ and about the Last Supper? It is not painted on canvas. Yes po, hindi po siya nakapaint sa canvas. Ito po ay mural painting. Meaning, it was painted directly po sa mga wall. Actually, meron na yun ngayon eh. May mga nakapinta na sa mga wall, which is yung mga sa mga simbahan. And the artwork measures about 8.8 meters. Katumbas po yun nun ay 29 feet. Ibig sabihin, sobrang lawak, sobrang laki. Okay, making it much larger than most paintings. Another thing, because Leonardo experimented with the new painting techniques instead of true fresco, the mural began to deteriorate only a few years after it was completed. And a true fresco is traditional painting technique used for walls and ceilings where artists paint directly onto wet, freshly laid plaster. Okay? So dito, ang kaibahan lang ng techniques niya, kung kay Mona Lisa po ay sfumato, ang dito naman sa Last Supper ay true fresco, na nakapinta po sa wall. Yung matagal mawala. Na kahit basa pa, pwede ka mag-paint. So, yun po yung story ng ating The Last Supper. And it has been carefully restored several times to preserve it for future generations. Kaya nga makikita po natin yung ibang mga simbahan, may mga gano'n na rin pong klase ng disenyo. And sabi nga, 'di ba, may mga painting na rin tayo na i-display sa bahay na katulad po ng sa Last Supper. Okay, so to give you a summary, Leonardo arranged them or the 12 apostles based on their personality, based on their relationship with Jesus Christ, and based on their reaction to the betrayal news. Kaya kung mapapansin nyo, nakagroup po sila and may kanya-kanya silang reaction. And again, nakadepende po yung posisyon nila sa kung gaano sila kalapit kay Jesus Christ. So each group of 3 apostles shares a common emotion: shock, anger, doubt, or confusion. So the painting feels alive and mas makatotohanan. Okay? So kung mapapansin po natin, ang gusto lang iparating sa atin ni Leonardo da Vinci sa kanya pong mga painting ay gusto niya na maging makatotohanan yung painting na ipinapakita niya sa atin. Na mas maging makatotohanan, mas mukhang maging realistic ka. Okay, so that's it. So that's the story of Leonardo da Vinci's painting about the Mona Lisa, the Vitruvian Man, and the Last Supper. So I hope marami po kayong natutuhan. So if you want more information about those 3 masterpieces of Leonardo da Vinci, so maaari po kayong mag-research para mas marami pa kayong kaalaman na mai-share. So that's it. Thank you and God bless you.